A motion that we now return to regular session.
Second.
The move and second that we now return to regular session. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Aye. Mr. King?
Staff is recommending certification closed meeting, resolution 21-29.
I move with resolution 21-29. Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve resolution 21-29. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Mr. King?
Staff is also requesting approval of the agenda with the following items being amended. There were 2 added items in closed session under legal matters, and there is 1 item under other matters in open session, which needs to be deleted. It's item D.
I move we approve the agenda as amended. Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the agenda as amended. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell? Mrs. A. Mr. King?
Staff is also requesting approval of the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of the special meeting of August 12th and the regular meeting minutes of August 17th, along with budgetary matters, warrants, and resolution 21-38 personnel matters resulting from closed session.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented. Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve consent agenda. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Mr. King?
We have 1 public hearing on tonight's agenda. It's a zoning matter, SP 5-20, Fountain Creek Solar Project.
I move we go into public hearing. Second.
It's been moved that we now go to public hearing. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Mr. King?
Okay, we have, sorry.
The board is asking you to review the public hearing protocol, and I'll do that briefly. Per the board's policy, each speaker will be given 3 minutes. The time limit will be strictly enforced. I will keep the time. When a speaker has spoken 2 minutes, I'll go, and there's 1 minute left. And when your time's up, we would ask please that you cease your presentation. Each speaker can address the board only once. No speaker can donate his or her 3 minutes to another speaker. The speaker should face the board and address their comments to the board, not to the members of the audience. We ask, as always, that everyone be civil, remain civil and respectful of the others who are here. And we also ask when you come up, if you would, before speaking, that you state your name and address for the record.
Properly bring to the same report to the staff.
Good evening, I'm Rebecca Cobb with the Berkeley Group, and it's good to finally be here before you. I've been before the Planning Commission several times, and especially for this case, and so it's good to be here with you all tonight to finally meet you. I believe, we're very familiar at this point with this case, I believe, so I'm not going to go into great detail tonight, but just for the record, a few things. This is the special use permit SP 520 application request for a special use permit for an 80 megawatt solar energy facility in an A1 zoning district. This is proposed on 2 parcels consisting of a total of approximately 802 acres, with the project footprint consisting of approximately 560 acres. The project includes a generation tie line that will convey the power from the project to an interconnection point at approximately on an approximately 2 acre parcel east of the Brink substation along Pine Log Road. The gen tie line proposed is going to cross 6 parcels for a 2.2 mile route. The interconnection switchyard will be approximately 200 by 200 and include fenced and transmission structures not exceeding 75 feet in height, breakers and ancillary equipment. The applicant has proposed a 200-foot minimum setback and a 150-foot vegetated buffer along the parcels east of the project site. A 150-foot setback is proposed from Fish Road, Brink Road, and other project parcel external boundaries with a 100-foot vegetated buffer. The applicant has proposed 4 wildlife corridors. The project will include permanent access points on Brink Road, Fish Road, and Fountain Creek Road. During the 2232 review with the Planning Commission, there were some primary issues identified. Those were setbacks, buffer plantings, wildlife corridors, historic resources, and decommissioning plan. Those things have all been addressed, and staff would recommend approving those as they are provided in your packet tonight. There are 14 conditions for your consideration. The Planning Commission has recommended approval with those conditions. Again, I'm not going to go through all of them. You have them before you if you do have any questions. And as I said, the Planning Commission is recommending approval with those conditions. And you have 3 options tonight. You can recommend approval with the conditions or amend those conditions and approve. You could recommend denial, or you could defer the application. Are there any questions for me? Thank you.
At this time, anyone who wishes to speak regarding the Fountain Creek Solar Project should come forward and state your name and address. Mr. Cypress has one letter that he has been requested to read before we have anyone come forward.
The Nova Akron rally. Thelma Atkins rally with the Community Youth Center was unable to attend tonight, and she sent us a letter in regards to this. The letter reads, "My name is Thelma Atkins Rally, 1180 Sussex Drive in Emporia, Virginia, 23847. And I'm president of the CYC Limited, which provides an important recreational and educational resource for underserved communities in Emporia and Regional County. As the board may know, the CYC has played a role in improving the lives of young people for generations, but the CYC fell on hard times. We're now rebuilding the CYC and have plans to improve the pool and athletic facilities, as well as transforming our main building into classroom and learning spaces. A powerful symbol of the CYC's renaissance is the repair of our roof, which began in June. We were unable to fund the repair work thanks to a contribution from Clearway Energy, which is the sponsor of the Fountain Creek Solar Project. And you may find additional information about the repair from Independent Messenger. The roof work is the first of many improvements we hope to undertake. Clearway has informed us that they plan to help fund additional projects at the CYC, which will help fulfill our dream of restoring the CYC to its former glory. We are especially pleased to have access to funding during the coronavirus emergency. I hope that the Board of Supervisors will approve the Fountain Creek application so that the partnership between CYC and Clearway will continue to flourish and grow. Thank you very much, Thelma Atkins Rowley, President of CYC.
Do we have anyone else present that would like to speak?
So, good evening, everybody. Dan Hendrick here from Clearway Energy. It's great to see everybody, and we had a restful holiday. And just want to say that we appreciate your commitment to public service during these unusual times and conditions. So, thank you. Clearway is excited tonight to discuss the Fountain Creek Solar Project, which we hope you'll see has improved significantly over the months since we first introduced the project. And that is really because of all the work and feedback that we've had from you all, from the staff, from the Planning Commission, from everybody in the county. So we really appreciate the engagement here. And I mean it sincerely when I say thank you for being so generous with your time over these many months here. I'd just like to introduce our project team. Dave Stoner, who is in the back there. Jennifer Lester here from King Moore, who can help if there's any questions around the technical analysis. Amy Brownstein, our attorney, in case there's any legal questions. And 2 members of our team here, our Clearway team, who couldn't be here with us tonight. I'm sure they're watching on the live stream. Our Susan Gladding, our senior manager of project development, and Jennifer Sherwood, our permanent manager. I also just want to point out a couple of members from our
extended team from Dominion Energy because we hope to work with them on this project. I know we have Ernest Green and Austin Jones here with us. There's right there. And they'll offer their comments a little bit later. So without further ado, I'd love to welcome up Dave Stoner to talk a little bit about the project.
Thank you, Dan. Good evening, members of the Greensville County Board. My name is Dave Stoner. I'm going to do this if I may. My voice is weak enough, so as it is. My name is Dave Stoner. I'm with Clearway Energy, and I've been working on this project for a number of years. Next slide. Next slide. Start briefly with a little bit about Clearway Energy. Fountain Creek Solar LLC is a wholly owned subsidiary of the Clearway Energy Group. Clearway is a large, experienced developer, owner, operator of renewable energy facilities. They operate over 2.8 gigawatts of wind, 1.2 gigawatts of solar projects, numerous community distributed solar, and on the map here you can see offices across the country. They also have approximately 9 gigawatts, that's 9,000 megawatts of renewable energy in the pipeline. I'll talk a little bit, or jump immediately to some brief overview of the project. Again, you all have the application, we've had time to review it. The Berkeley Group has given a good summary. It's an 80 megawatt solar PV project located in Greensville County, Virginia. The total project area is 802 acres, of which about 560 acres would be developed. The site itself is predominantly used for timber production, with about a third of it in the center of the site, currently used for agriculture and zoned A1. We've done a lot of development work on the project. We started working on the project back in 2016. We obviously have full site control for the parcels included in the SUP. We've completed the interconnection process with Dominion and PJM for interconnection to the grid. And we've held a number of community meetings for this project. Most recently in December of last year, the Planning Commission approved the 2232. That is substantially came out with a determination of the project is substantially in accord with Greensville County's comprehensive plan in February of this year. And in July of this year, that same Planning Commission recommended approval of this SUP to the board. We would hope to finish development of the project next year and start construction of the project in 2022. It's about a 12-month construction period that would bring us to commercial operations end of 2022, first quarter 2023. A few details about the facility design. First of all, the project is designed fully in accordance with Greensville County's zoning ordinance and comprehensive plan as relates to large-scale solar. We have a minimum 150-foot setback from property boundaries or road right-of-way to our fence line around the entire project, with the exception on the east side. We've increased that setback to 200 feet. And there are many areas, as you can see on the site plan here, the areas shown in blue, which are wetlands, which will not be used nor remain forested, and result in additional buffers and additional setbacks of our equipment. We have a 10-foot maximum height overall to the bottom of panels. The site is gentle rolling topography, which allows us to minimize grading and reduce potential erosion and sedimentation concerns during construction. At the conclusion of construction, we established a good grassland ground cover, both to help minimize future erosion and minimize runoff during the operational phase. As required by the ordinance, we've included 4 different wildlife corridors, predominantly along existing drainages and wetland areas, to allow large wildlife to move freely through the facility. The project design avoids, we've studied wetlands, we avoid all those kind of sensitive areas. Again, as can be shown on our site plan, And we'll have a chain link fence all around those panel areas shown in black on that site. The application also includes provisions for proper decommissioning of the facility at the end of its life. That includes proper removal of all components for either disposal or recycling off-site. It also includes a proposal for financial security, letter of credit or bonding, again, fully in compliance with Greensville County, both zoning ordinance and practices for other projects. There's special conditions that you've imposed on other projects. Next slide. One of the most key aspects of this project is 83%, the vast majority of the site is wooded at its boundaries. It's wooded now. It will remain wooded. It will look the same during the construction period, and it will look the same once the facility goes in operation. As you can see, again, by the aerial photograph there, you can see the vast majority of the boundary of the site is currently in managed timber production, predominantly pine, and it's our intention that we'll maintain at least 100 foot of that existing forest vegetation around all the dark green areas of the site. On the east side of the site, we've increased that to 150 foot minimum wooded setback. So as I said, around all of those areas of the site, what you see today when you drive by is going to be the same as what you see during construction. It's going to be the same as what you see during commercial operations. There are a few areas where the perimeter of the site is in open ag lands. Those areas we will plant new vegetative buffers, again, in the areas shown in light green on this diagram. We also will be executing a timber preservation agreement with our existing landowners that says, yes, that timber that's standing there, they won't cut the construction, we'll maintain that through the life of the facility. In addition to that buffer all around the site, we've also proposed leaving 25 feet of timber standing along portions of the Gentile line where the project interconnects to the Dominion system, again, to minimize visual impact in the event in the future. I mean, right now, most of that line runs through existing wooded areas. In the event the landowner chooses to timber that property, we would commit to leave 25 feet on either side of the line, again, just to break up any visual impact of the line. Next slide. And that can be shown here a little bit. The Gentile line crosses Fountain Creek Road, goes to the wooded area, crosses Pine Log Road, continues east to about a quarter mile of Pine Log Road, and then turns north. As you can see on this diagram, it interconnects with the Dominion system to the east side of the existing Mecklenburg Energy Brink substation. One thing we have committed to based on citizens' input that we've received is a portion of that Gentile line where it crosses Pine Log Road, we will place underground. Again, the blow up here in the circle on this diagram shows that. So there's a few hundred feet there that essentially adjoins the parsonage property. If you're familiar with that location on Pine Log Road, that will be undergrounded. The remainder of the line, next slide, please, Dan. We've tried to show you here in these visual simulations that, we tried really hard to route the line so that it was not highly visible. Again, between the project site, Fountain Creek Road and Pine Log Road, it completely runs through existing tall timber. You will not see that. It's undergrounded where you cross Pine Log Road. And then on the east side of Pine Log Road, as I mentioned, it will be at least a quarter mile to the east. The diagrams here, the pictures here on the right are some photo simulations where we're actually showing you what that transmission line is going to look like behind those parcels. And as you can see, you largely can't see it. You will have some visibility right after it crosses Pine Log Road, but we've selected a route that gets a quarter mile off, follows existing topography and wood lines in the back that stands behind. So again, much of it will not be visible. Next slide. Segue here a little bit and talk about benefits this project will bring to the county. First and foremost, Clearway estimates the project construction will generate about 100 to 175 jobs during construction. These types of facilities are highly automated, so there won't be a lot of operational jobs, but we estimate 1 to 3 permanent operational jobs for the facility, plus additional jobs via contractors for groundskeeping, grounds maintenance, and such. We also looked at economic benefits to the county. As part of our application, we had an economic study performed by Mangum Consulting. They're an economic consultant that looks at economic impacts of projects like this to communities. The project itself represents about $100 million capital investment to Greensville County. Greensville will benefit directly by property tax first year of about $115,000 annually. That will decline over the life of the project. There will be some impact with the composite index, given that formula. So it's about a net $85,000 first year benefit to the county. Again, that declines somewhat over time, but a total benefit to the county based on property tax revenues of about $1.1 million over the life of the project. In addition to direct tax payments to the county, there will also be direct and indirect economic effects to the county by this $100 million construction project that's going to happen here. We estimate those direct and indirect benefits to the county of about $14 million during construction. That $14 million represents labor income, purchase of local goods and services, hospitality services, hotel rooms, etc., that would be utilized during the construction period. We estimate about $350,000 additional economic benefit to the area, similarly during the operational life of the project. In addition to those economic benefits, the project brings clean, efficient, reliable, renewable energy enough to power about 13,000 Virginia homes. It supports Virginia's renewable energy goals and supports the new energy plan here in the state of Virginia. And again, it also, since it's bringing clean emission-free energy, there's some statistics there about the amount of emissions offset, that it offsets as compared to a conventional fossil fuel mix of generation. Clearway also strives to work with the local community, again, to find ways to work with the community, and I think we've had evidence that with some work that we've done with the Community Youth Center and supporting some of the renovations of their facilities. We've done that thus far, and I think Clearway would expect to do that through construction and the operational life of the facility. We've also done a lot of public outreach on this project. As I mentioned, we had a second neighborhood meeting in December 2019, which had somewhere 30 or 40 members of the public that attended. We met with the Breaker Hunt Club and coordinated with them as they currently have hunting leases on the property. We've done several site visits with both members of this board as well as members of the Planning Commission through the whole process, again, trying to be as open as we can and inform folks about the project. Prior to the Planning Commission hearings with 2232 and SUP, we received over 56 letters of support from the project, not only from individual landowners, but also from organizations like the Chamber of Commerce, the Community Youth Center, and last but not least, Dominion Energy. Dominion has offered a letter of support for the project and has confirmed that Clearway is in discussions about the potential for Dominion to possibly acquire the project to be part of their growing renewable energy fleet. I think there's a representative from Dominion here tonight to speak as well. I would also point out that a number, over 30 of those letters of support were actually from not only just people in the county, but people in immediate proximity to the project. And again, on this map here, you can see a number of those folks identified here, not only our own landowners, the neighbors all around the project, as well as folks along the transmission line and up along Pine Log Road. I think that primarily concludes my presentation for this evening. I think one last thing that I would say, and I do have a request, we have been made aware today that there were a number of public comments that came into the board sort of late last minute over the weekend. We understand the board is sifting through those and might require some additional time to consider those. As such, I think as the applicant, we would like to just go ahead and request a deferral of the board's decision until the next meeting to give both us time to respond to that, to answer any board members' questions, and give the board time to consider those last minute comments prior to making a decision. With that, I'll conclude unless anybody has any questions.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Good evening, members of the board. Mr. Stone just took the wind out of my sails. Because I was coming up here to let you know that Dominion supports this, that I wanted you to vote yes for this project. But he said, ask you to do that. I wanted to share a little bit with you. One, I submitted a letter to you in early June, late June, asking for your support of this project and the approval of the project. Because we have been given a mandate by the government to reduce our carbon footprint. And we have a process to go through. We're shutting down our coal-fired plants. And I know you heard that our natural gas process was shut down for us. And we're trying to figure out exactly how we go about supplying electricity to our customers. And solar, in the project that we have down off the shore of Virginia Beach, dealing with the wind, is how we plan to meet that reducing of the natural carbon footprint, and being able to still supply electricity to our customers. So solar is the major part of that. And we just submitted a letter to our local governments around to say, do you have any property that might fit into this solar process that we're going through? And having a transmission line close to a property that would allow us to put any electricity generated right on that transmission line is a plus. So when Clearway and Dominion looked at Greensville County, everything said yes. So that's how we came up with this project and where it's located and what we're able to do. And I've been raving about Greensville County for years. The staff here, top notch, and I've been able to work with them over the years with different projects. I think we agree, and I think I heard Mr. Pope say that the building of a natural gas pipeline was one of the smoothest processes we've gone through with a locality. And so I wanted to thank you for that. And just another example of that, we had a customer, a property owner that had an issue with this project, communicated with Mr. Pope. Mr. Pope communicated with us. We had a sit-down meeting. He called us in. We had a sit-down meeting with that property owner, worked out all of the issues. And he walked out of the room today with a smile, thanking us for. He did ask for us to put everything in writing, everything that we agreed to do. We're going to do that, but he walked out pleased that he was able to sit down with Dominion Energy and work out. We listened to him, came down, we listened to him, and worked out all of those issues. And what you heard early on is how we like to do business, that the staff comes to us with a list of proposals, things that we need to get done. We say, yes, we'll get them done. And that's the working relationship that we like to have with local government, and we definitely have it with Greensville County. So I'm excited about the possibility of asking you to please, when the time is right, vote yes on this project and this proposal, because it fits into the overall goal of the government, what the government is doing, and and asking us to do. And the government has actually heard some of the proposals from here. So legislation was just recently introduced that allows local government to benefit from the sale of the power from solar facilities. So it's not just the landowner, but there are two different opportunities from a property value issue or from the amount of megawatts sold or put onto the grid. So there's a way to benefit. So not only are we hearing what you're saying, but General Assembly and the government's hearing what local government is saying, and we're working together to meet all of those particular needs. So tonight I'm here to say the letter that I submitted on June 25th asking your support of this project stands, and I wanted to come back again. I spoke at the Planning Commission. I'm here tonight to let you know that Dominion stands behind this Fountain Creek project. We ask for, when the time is right, your vote yes. Thank you. Any questions? Thank you for your time.
Anyone else present that would like to speak?
Hello, my name is Sheila Ferguson. I live at 1570 Brink Road in Emporia, Virginia. I want to thank each of you for the opportunity to speak and to voice our opinions tonight. Your job is not an easy one, and I thank each one of you. Over the past 2 years, I have voiced my opinion several times, but for those of you that are new to the board, here are my thoughts once again. I am a lifelong resident of Greensville County who is interested in seeing progress for our county. I understand that some people do not like change, especially unknown changes. But without change, there can be no progress. Think of the automobile, the airplane, electricity, and technology, and how they have changed our lives. If decision makers have been against those, how different would our lives be today? I'm in favor of having solar power available in our county because of the possibilities it could bring to all of us. Excuse me. When I worked in the real estate business, I was discouraged time and time again because of the number of potential clients that decided not to move to Emporia, Greensville for various reasons, some of which were limited educational opportunities, not enough shopping choices, no recreational opportunities, and lack of quality homes to rent or purchase. These issues continue to be a detriment to attracting newcomers to choose to live here. Emporia used to have several movie theaters, a skating rink, a small bowling alley, this is when I was growing up, a teen recreation center, tennis courts, and a couple of community swimming pools. Basically, they're all gone now. Young families and retirees who live here often choose to move away because of lack of opportunities, both professional and personal. In my opinion, the income generated from solar availability in Greensville County could help change all of this. Our county could profit greatly, as Dave Stone has pointed out, in potential income from just this one solar project. In addition to the direct and indirect contributions to the county from solar companies choosing to locate here with the profit, having solar power energy sources would make Greensville County a place to consider for businesses looking for greener energy. More businesses here would mean more people, more tax revenue, more demand for all services, including construction, recreational, restaurants, gas stations, shopping areas. We would all profit. As a side note, the Independent Messenger posted on May 13th that Greensville County was going to have a shortfall of revenue. It stated there would be a shortfall of state revenues of $653,503 for Greensville County school funding. This one solar project alone could help immensely with this shortfall. So I urge our county leaders to focus on the potential opportunities and vote in favor of solar power for Greensville County. Thank you for your time.
What was your first name?
Good evening, Board of Supervisors. My name is Belle Blake Patterson. I reside currently, I'm an appointed Greensville native, but I reside currently at 10305 Oakdale Drive, Fort Chesterfield, Virginia 23237. As a Greensville County landowner, and I join the county residents, other landowners, other interested parties, and Dominion, and in supporting this solar project. The benefits to the county have been gone through. They're economic, they provide carbon-free electrical power, a wave of the future, and it does not disrupt unnecessarily the rural nature of the county, which I love as well, and allows effective and environmentally friendly use of the land consistently with the wishes of the landholders, owners, and the community. I thank you for approving the special use application and allowing it to move forward toward completion. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here that would like to speak against this solar project?
I think the last time I used to wear these a lot when I was 6 years old playing Cowboys and Indians. Thank you. My name is Wilson Clary. I am for the project and involved in the project, and would like to mention a few things to you here tonight. The Planning Commission, when it took this project up, had 2 votes that they undertake, and it was mentioned earlier, the 2232, which was approved by a 6-1 majority. And the final on the recommendation of the special use permit was voted on at 8-1. These are individual citizens from all walks of life throughout the county who have been largely to the sites and been seeing the project for what it is and had a good, clear understanding of what it is as well, and not be disturbing other people. As is mentioned earlier by Mr. Stoner, it's about 84% densely populated with trees already around the border, around the corridor. And that is not going to be seen as such. And it's kind of makes me wonder sometimes. If you leave Brink Store and go to the Forest Hills Baptist Church parsonage, there's 54 lines that run across the road there, all over the place. And a substation that's clear in view, that quite honestly is more obscene than what we've been talking about. But people with property, things are not always the same. What used to work many years ago doesn't work anymore. Timber, people that know timber right now is worth about a third of what it was about 12, 15 years ago. Pretty amazing. We got a housing boom going on, and timber is 2/3 less. Crazy. Property owners need different ways to diversify themselves. It's very important that they be able to do that and do it so do it in a good way. And this project is a good way. Property owner rights or economic freedom is really founded on individual property rights. And it just doesn't seem right the government can take those rights away for that individual property owner, provided that it doesn't provide economic harm to somebody near it. And the environment, no problem there. I see that the county reservoir uses these solar circulators to move the water around so that it can be, won't get stagnant. Well, those solar circulators are powered, they're powered by solar. on top of the water that's potable water to drink and for industrial purpose. I thank you very much. I hope you'll consider this project very strongly.
Thank you.
My name is Lucy, and I live at 113 Ashbury Court in Roanoke Rapids, North Carolina. And I hope everybody's doing okay during this crazy time, and I thank you for allowing me to speak with you. The folks from Clearway and Dominion Energy have given you excellent information concerning our Fountain Creek Solar project. I want to speak to you on a more personal level. After my grandfather stepped away from our farms, my mother's generation took over the operations. Mama never really got involved at all, but a couple of times she did bring up the farms to me. She said she'd like to do some other things with the land, not just crops and trees, and asked me for my suggestions. I came up with a couple of ideas. We had 2 ponds, and some of y'all may remember Bill Chambers. Well, he was doing catfish farms, and his nephew, John Adams, was handling the day-to-day operations. So I thought, why don't we do catfish farms? Couldn't be so difficult. And I was sure John would help us get started. She didn't seem too excited about this idea. So my next idea was at the beginning of the fitness craze with aerobics and jogging and Scarsdale diet and Atkins diet, and not using bacon drippings and butter beans and squash. So I suggested to raise ostriches. This was an up-and-coming thing because ostrich meat was low in fat. I've eaten an ostrich burger, it's pretty good. I told Mama we had a perfect place for them in the field right in front of the 2 ponds near one of the unused pig ponds. They would have plenty of places to run, water to drink from the ponds, and shelter of the rain and cold in pig ponds. We wouldn't kill them, we just raised them for their eggs. She got $2,000 for an egg. But she looked at me like I lost my mind. So I asked for her suggestion. She wanted to do trailer parks. She knew somebody was going to do this on their land and liked this idea. My point of telling you all this is, even my mama, who never really had anything to do with the farms, realized we needed to diversify the use of our land. My generation took over about 3 years ago, and we really know we have to find other uses for the land.
1 minute.
Last year, we attended the conference on growing hemp. My son-in-law, who's a North Carolina farm, was very successful with his crop last year. Now that brings me to solar, which has been discussed in great length and detail over 2 years, and it's definitely the best way for us to go. So I'm asking for your support and grant us our SUP. I really don't look forward to feeding catfish or collecting ostrich eggs, and I surely don't want to clean up poop from pig pollens. And if you've never been in a pig pollen, you should go one time. It will literally take your breath away. I don't want the responsibility of handling issues of trailer parks, and I don't want to have to sit in the middle of our hemp field at midnight with an assault rifle to keep out drug dealers. The solar farm sure does sound great. Please support us. Thank you. Take care.
Thank you.
Good evening. Madam Chair, members of the board, my name is Benny Licken and I reside at 3175 Dialogue Road. The guidelines that you created and adopted along with the Planning Commission were put in place to help you control the size, density, and location of these large industrial utility scale projects. They also serve as a mechanism to offer protection to adjoining landowners and rural residential neighborhoods. As we all know, who have been coming to these meetings now for quite some time, this project does not meet the majority of the core guidelines that were created. And I won't go through them because we all know what they are. One of the biggest problems with this project is that it's being located or would be located within 600 feet of the already approved Mahoran solar facility. If you don't adopt, if you don't allow your guidelines to be implemented, the precedent that you will set will establish an awful mindset for every single applicant that follows this clearly. You know, the Brink community is a large community, and these people aren't opposed to change. What they are opposed to is someone messing around with their rural residential zone. You know, people who live that far out in the county, we chose to live there for a reason. I'm very proud to be a resident and one member of the Brink community, and I'm even more proud of the residents of the Brink community because recently, as Mr. Stoner made reference to, a number of residents came together to protect their rural zone now and for the future. As a result, 91 of those residents signed letters expressing opposition to this project. So therefore, their request is that the application for the special use permit be denied. Each one of you have a copy of those 91 letters. I know a lot of issues went around with Forest Hill Church, and just so you know, the pastor and their wife signed letters to oppose that as well. I think these letters should and will speak for themselves. I see no need to delay any further action. You know, I think we've heard all we're going to hear over and over again. I've got Mr. Stoner's speech memorized. So thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
In addition to the 91 signatures that were provided this weekend, we also received one letter through email back to Lacey Stiff. That email was sent yesterday. It just got this morning. I tried to make an effort to get it to all the board members today. Did you want to read that letter? Gary, would you read that letter? Give a better voice than I did.
Dear Mr. Pope, this letter is in reference to the September 8th, 2020 meeting scheduled for a hearing at 6 p.m. I cannot appear for this hearing since I'm scheduled for a medical appointment in Durham, North Carolina the next morning. I hope you will allow me to file my objections through this letter. This is the second consideration of the same application that was previously before the board. I appeared in former board meetings and was permitted to submit oral comments. I regret that I could not follow the same practice. I am the adjoining landowner. I own 63 acres of land north and east of the designated proposed plot. My land begins in the north at the intersection of Brink Road and Fish Road South. This parcel was purchased in 1908 by Edward Powell Estate, along with 63 acres on the west side of Fish Road in exchange for cash proceeds. This property has never been mortgaged or pledged as collateral from the date of purchase up until the current date. Timber has been cut 3 times, once by my mother's request and twice by me. I only remember seeing an aerial map that the purchasing contractor relied upon to use as a map of the land. Efforts to retrieve that copy have been unsuccessful. Both parcels have remained in the Powell estate. The tax has been delinquent for 2 years. However, I have met the terms of the tax assessor on the payment plan. I first learned of the claim to the portion apparently when this project became the project's development, although no mention of the project development was revealed through the late attorney Vincent. I suggested since we had the superior title that he should file suit against us. He declined to do this. The earliest discovery of the claims to the interest in the claim to the Powell estate originated during the 50s. The law allowed the landowner to survey an adjoining landowner's property, record the survey in the clerk's office without any notice to the adjoining owner. That law subsequently has been changed. The law now requires notice and a formal hearing in the circuit court. To my knowledge, my family has ever received any further notice of claim to this property. Mr. Stone has visited with me in my home in Tabor. At that time, I shared with him many of the documents that supported my claim of ownership. I asked at that time for a supporting claim on payment of taxes for the land. He produced none. I explained that any encroachment on my property or any elements of this project would require that I initiate court proceedings While much of what I'm providing you may only decide through litigation, which I'm prepared to pursue, my other concern is prededicated to the drainage on the creek that is clearly on my land. In the last board meeting, the explanation offered by the presenters provided that there would be runoff from this project. The chemicals from that project would have a negative effect on the tributary. No study was submitted advising the board of the consequences to my tributary. I solemnly submit the issue to the board for consideration. Very truly yours, Salvage DeLacy Stitt, 4525 Maryfield Arc, Chesapeake, Virginia 23321.
Good evening. My name is Andy Brownstein. I live at 529 Sleepy Hollow Road in Richmond, Virginia. I'm an attorney, a partner with the law firm of Green Herlocker in Richmond, Virginia, and I am representing Clearway Energy in this matter for real estate matters. My purpose this evening is only to briefly speak in response to, in particular, this most recent letter that we read to the hearing. Clearway is aware of the issue regarding the potential dispute over the boundary line of the property. This is a dispute that Mr. Stitt has engaged in with the adjoining landowners for well over a decade. In numerous situations, the adjoining landowner has attempted to obtain additional information regarding this dispute and has not received anything additional that allows them to determine whether that dispute is germane or not. In the context of providing the materials for this meeting and for the process of going through the diligence that Clearway needs to do in order to do a project like this, they did investigate the public record. And they investigated both the public record of the land in question that you've seen, as well as the Stitt property. Nothing in the public record indicates that there's any boundary dispute that is germane at this time. We would continue to look at this issue accordingly well after the decision on the special use permit has been made. If for some reason there was some problem between the boundaries, that would be a matter between the landowners, and in Clearway's position would not be germane to the decision itself regarding the special use permit. It's simply an issue between two potential landowners. If for some reason the boundary is not the way that Clearway believes it to be, that our title and commitments and title information survey have already indicated, we give the public record that where the boundary is. And if for some reason that boundary was incorrect, and it impacted the project in a material fashion, Clearway would certainly come back to the Planning Commission and the board with whatever changes are necessary in order to make the project appropriate. But at this point, the position of Clearway and the group is that this particular dispute, whether it exists or not, is not germane to the decision itself of approving or not approving the special use permit. Take any questions.
Being that there are no more speakers, can I get a motion that we have a temporary session?
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we return to regular session. All those in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. Astrop? Aye. Mr. King?
Item on this evening's agenda is action resulting from the public hearing matter on SP 5-20 Elm Creek Solar Project.
Given the fact that, as Mr. Stoner stated, this information was received yesterday, I think we need to take some time to process this. I'd like to grant Mr. Stoner's request to defer this, so I make a motion to defer this. Second.
It has been moved and seconded that we defer the SP 5-20 Thousand Creek Solar Project. All those in favor of the roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. Astrop? Aye. Mr. King?
No.
Moving on to items with appointments, there are several on the agenda tonight. The first is a proclamation recognizing the Eagle Scout Nicholas Keith Bryant.
Good evening to everyone. Board of Supervisors, and I'm going to ask that Nicholas Bryant, will you please come up? Okay. This is an honor to be able to do this when Mr. Bryant called us. It was an honor, especially to Mr. Kane, because he was a Cub Scout at some point in time. So like I said, it's a great privilege, and for the things that we heard about you, this was very fitting to do this. So it reads, the proclamation. Board of Supervisors proclamation, Eagle Scout Nicholas Keith Bryan, Troop 232, Purdy, Virginia. Whereas Nicholas Keith Bryan is being honored for his outstanding accomplishment of earning the rank of Eagle Scout and not only meeting qualifications, but superseding beyond. Nicholas earned 15 badges over his expected requirement while earning his bronze, silver, and gold palms at the same time. And whereas Nicholas' journey all began when he joined the Cub Scout with Cub Scout Pueblo at the age of 9, earning the Arrow of Light Award. And afterward, moved on to the Boy Scout Troop 232 in Purdy, Virginia. And whereas Nicholas has accomplished numerous achievements to include the earning of badges in leather work, plumbing, dentistry, robotics, electricity, genealogy, environmental science, first aid, and many other areas. And whereas Nicholas, along with the collaborative effort of his scouts, designed a project which would add a sign and a flagpole in his church cemetery at Independence United Methodist Church. And whereas Nicholas will be a rising 11th grader, homeschooled through Liberty University Online Academy, a dual enrollment student, member of the Beta Club, and has always held good academic standing. Now therefore, be it resolved that the Greensville County Board of Supervisors extend to Nicholas Keith Bryant our heartfelt congratulations for earning the rank of Eagle Scout. Belinda A. Strap, Chairman, James Brown, Vice Chair, Tony Conwell, and William Kane, Greensville County Board of Supervisors, and Denise Banks, Clerk, Greensville County Board. This is adopted this 8th day of September 2020. Congratulations, Private.
Our next item this evening is in reference to the removal of the courthouse monument. Mr. Robert Clark, President of the Greensville County Historical Society, is here this evening to speak to you about their interest in obtaining this monument. Mr. Clark.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Robert Clark. I'm president of the Greensville County Historical Society. Due to a previous decision that was made to remove the Confederate statue from the courthouse, I'm here tonight to make a proposal to relocate the said statue in the Emporia Cemetery. This is where all soldiers rest. The society's made a recommendation with the approval of the committee of the cemetery. And if approved, I'd appreciate your consideration. If approved also, I would need 45 days to make preparations for setting up the statue. If there's no questions, I appreciate your consideration, Ms. Brown.
only thing that I would say that my concern was making sure along the way we went to, it would not be visible to the public. That's the only concern.
It's about 100 yards from Brunswick Avenue. You could probably, if you looked hard, you could see the statue, but you wouldn't be able to identify it. It's way off from the street.
I would love to mention it on the other, see.
So,
Like I said, the only thing I said is, there's a possibility of what that possibility be there, if all possible.
yeah, you could barely see it if you were looking for it.
We can be put further back in the yard.
So,
There's no way to put it back further in the yard.
that's the only place in the cemetery, it's up near the flagpoles. It's basically the only place we can put it that is appropriate, and there's some unmarked graves in the cemetery as well, so this is the only place we know that there's no graves there. It's up against the Peter Weaver home plot, which is south of the flagpoles and off to the edge of the property. I looked today, if you look hard, you could possibly see that, but you wouldn't be able to detect that was the Confederate monument.
This is me, I just wanted to make sure, I did any possibility of seeing it. You know, I don't want you to continue, that's my request.
Yes, sir, it's about 100 yards from Brunswick Avenue. That's where, basically the Confederate graves are.
Do we need a motion for this?
Yes, sir, I provided each of you a resolution, which you could adopt if you see fit. I did not have it in the 45-day request. You may want to add that, give this gentleman time to get the site ready. Otherwise, I would recommend you adopt the resolution. I'm sorry.
It will take probably that time and a little bit more, Mr. King, to procure a contract, someone to move the monument. It's very hard for us to procure, and need less time than now.
If we have to remove a large tree, and then we've got to prepare the footing for it and everything. It's a large dead tree right where they want to put it.
Madam Chair, the resolution number would be 21-40. If you all choose to take action on that item this morning.
I would move that we approve resolution 21-40 as presented to us by council.
I'll second that. So it's been moved and second that we approve resolution 21-40. All those in favor, with the roll call vote.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. Ekstrom? Aye. Mr. King?
Thank you.
The next appointment this evening is Mr. Jerry Key with VDOT. He's here to give you an updated report and also to answer any questions that you may have. Mr. Key?
Glasses back up next. Good evening.
Good evening.
We got a few updates for you. We have been getting a lot of work orders for mowing and drainage, and we are trying to work on them as quick as possible. We are dealing with mainly site distance issues right now with mowing that we're trying to get to. Our contractor is scheduled to come in next week to do some of the primaries, but we are working on the secondaries now. Also, in the Jarrett area where we did the paving job, we have a contract, under contract now to work on that curb and gutter. I expect him to be coming in within the next 2 weeks to repair all of that curb and gutter and some sidewalk in that area. Let's see what else. We did have some issues with all of the storms we had with some high water and some roads washed out. Our guys did a pretty good job taking care of all of that. We did have one road damaged in the Morris area that we put back and replaced the pipe that was approximately $45,000, just to let you know how much we spent on it. That's really all the update I have. I can take any concerns you have.
Along with the contract mode, pick up trash.
Yes, the contract will pick up.
We got a huge problem with that. I don't know how we can address it, what we can do. We got a huge problem with trash. We've had this discussion.
But little pickup is included in the contract.
I have, November, the beginning that I think the last time we spoke.
Excuse me?
November, I think the last time we spoke, you told me the equipment broke down.
We finished it last week.
Okay.
Yeah, the ditch has been done. The only thing that needs to be done now is the outfall ditch that the county was working on, but our roadway ditch has been done.
Did we do both sides?
Yeah, we did.
Okay. Road and road, we did anything back to this one?
Yeah, I went and looked at that myself. We cleaned out the pipe and did a little bit of ditching at the end, but the last rainstorm we had, I went and looked at it and it was functioning fine, so I think we fixed the problem.
This is prime right there. But I think we did the wrong thing.
Yeah, I have got that marked for underground utilities and we haven't done it yet, but it's on schedule.
Independence Church Road, when is that program going to start?
You talking about the project?
Yeah, I think it's going to be widen the road.
Yeah, it'll widen the road basically from where the mining operation stopped to the bridge just past the church. You tie into the other project, but I believe, I don't have the schedule with me, but they just scheduled in like 2 years from now.
I don't have it with me, but if you look in the, staff meeting notes, I put the schedule in the copy of notes you get every month from us, but I'll also email everybody a copy of the schedule for.
I think it's scheduled for 22, I think is what the schedule.
I think that's what the construction portion is.
I have one area that I want to check on too. When you mentioned the Jared project, a few weeks ago, there was an article in the paper about a house that was surrounded with water. Is that included in that Jared project?
We are addressing that separate, but we had to talk to the railroad about cleaning out a culvert that goes to the railroad, but we are addressing that now.
Okay.
So that'll be done with our forces, not with the contract.
Also, as I heard on Wise Mill Road, talking to Pope last week, the guys went out there and did some work. They did the work on the wrong side of the property that flooded.
That's 490.
590 Wise Mill Road. Yeah, the lady called me back and they cleaned it on the wrong side.
Well, I talked to Mr. Fields today. He's going to go out there and clean the whole ditch. But we may have to do some outfall work that we may need to get a right of entry from the landowner to go in because that's where the biggest issue is.
Lynn has the information.
Okay.
Yeah, I sent it to them, probably there, they have copies of it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item on the citizen's agenda is citizens' comments. Anyone wishing to speak to the board, please come forward and state your name.
Good evening, Madam Chair, members of the board and staff. I am Corey Moorfield. I reside at 300 Harding Street in Emporia, and I'm an employee of Greensville County, and I respectfully stand before you tonight to ask that you strongly consider ending the moratorium on employee merit increases. I recognize that you, the Board of Supervisors, are tasked with protecting the county's best interest, but the employees are the backbone of Greensville County. We take your decisions and actions and we put them into motion for you. Merit increases are not a waste of money, they are an investment in the employees so that we will stay here, become more experienced, and help you grow Greensville County together. I am not personally affected by the current moratorium, but I speak out of concern for my coworkers that are. Those in lower paid positions, the single parents, those taking care of elderly parents, custodians, bus drivers, our receptionists, secretaries, and many more. They work hard to earn their merit increase. And they need it. They need it as soon as they can get it. I ask that you strongly consider changing the end date on the moratorium that you currently have in place. And I would ask that the county employees here tonight to support ending this moratorium to please stand. And with that, Madam Chair, thank you.
I just have one question for you, sir. Just for public record, how often are these merit increases given?
Annually.
Thank you.
If they are earned.
Good evening. I'm Catherine Howard, and I reside at 502 Allentown Road. I am also a county employee and have been employed with the county for 26 years. I also come before this board to humbly ask that you rescind Resolution 2128 that was voted upon in your last meeting. It was added to the agenda after the agenda went out so as to avoid notice. I believe that it was done non-transparent. It was not open to give the employees a chance to come to speak to you prior to you making a decision. This is a financial decision for your employees. As Mr. Moorfield stated, a lot of your employees count on this earned raise. It is not a given raise, it is earned. It's only 2.5%. It's not 5% like some of the other departments have been getting. I just ask that you rescind the resolution and also ask that you call forth a meeting so that you can meet personally with the employees affected and talk to them about their financial situation.
Thank you.
My name is Debbie Drummond. I live at 3235 Low Ground Road in Emporia. I come before you tonight in request of an immediate review of your August 24th, 2020 vote of 3-1 on Resolution 2128 imposing a freeze on county employees' annual merit increases. Your resolution stated the reason for freezing our annual merit increases were due to the COVID-19 crisis, which imposed a hardship on Greensville County, and also that county tax revenues may be less than in previous years. Greensville County received money from the federal government to assist during the COVID-19 crisis, which prevented the county from falling into a hardship. Also at a previous board meeting, our treasurer Pam Lipsey stated that tax revenues were up 0.4% over the 2019 collection rate. You, the board, adopted on June 25th, 2020, the Greensville County fiscal year budget of 2020-2021, which included funding for employee merit increases. What has changed since that time that puts Greensville County in such a hardship as the resolution you approved states that you need to freeze merit increases? With a member of our board who is in conflict of interest with the sheriff's office, you approved an increase for that department, which I agree they highly deserve. You also approved increase for the clerk's office. But for the employees of Greensville County, you have made a decision to freeze our merit increases. Your employees are the backbone that keeps this county operating on a daily basis. We have worked extremely hard during this pandemic to try and keep operating as smoothly as possible, and it has not been easy, but we have done a great job.
1 minute.
My staff and I have been putting together PPE packs and distributed them to county staff, sheriff's department, clerk's office, Commonwealth attorney, DSS, regional jail, and the school system, other organizations, and for the community. Employees have all worked together as one unit, making sure meetings such as this board meeting are able to take place by setting this room up, by screening people, temperature checks, enforcing social distancing, face masks, and sanitizing this building. The only appreciation that I have received is from my county administrator, my assistant county administrator, county employees, and the community. Your appreciation comes as imposing a freeze on my annual merit increase. Your reasons do not justify the basis of this resolution to freeze our merit increases. I just request fairness and equality. My voice may not make a difference, but my silence means I support your decision. That is why I stand before you tonight and let my voice be heard. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Kim Swinson and I reside at 399 Whitehorn Road in Emporia. I've been an employee of the County of Greenville for over 16 years and have come to ask that you rescind resolution number 21-28, which suspended annual merit increases for county employees. The resolution states the COVID-19 crisis has imposed financial hardships on Greenville County. However, the county has received over $1.9 million from the federal government to assist with the crisis. Also, the county's tax collection rate is reportedly higher than previous years. Annual merit increases are not guaranteed raises. Annual merit increases are only earned if employees receive a favorable performance evaluation. We, the employees of the county, have continued to work during the pandemic to ensure the operations of the county run smoothly and effectively. I'm aware that both the Sheriff's Department and Clerk's Office received a 5% raise effective July 1st. I'm also aware that 2 county employee evaluations were reviewed during the July board meeting and received their 2.5% merit increase. Excuse me. Suspending our merit increases not only financially affects us right now, but also affects our retirement as well as our Social Security. If merit increases were to be retroactively reinstated in January, it would cause employees to be in a higher tax bracket. Funding for merit increases was included in the budget, which was adopted in June. I do not understand what changed between the budget being adopted in the latter part of June and the merit increases being suspended as of August 3rd, 2020. I again humbly ask that you rescind resolution number 21-28 and reinstate annual merit increases based on performance evaluations for all county employees at this time. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Margaret Eason. I reside at 227 Vine Boulevard, Fort Virginia. I have worked for the county for 20 plus years. I would like for you to rescind the decision you have made. We all work together and try to keep everyone safe and keep the buildings clean. We go in and do our job. We work with each person to make sure that no one leaves out from our building and be sick. I work in the courthouse, so many people come from different walks of life, and we don't know who has what, because some people don't show symptoms. So I ask you to reconsider what you have already done by our fellow employees who work very hard to try to keep everything going. Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak?
Good evening.
Good evening.
Terry Miles, 224-8 Reed Avenue, Charlotte, Virginia. I won't say anything that you guys don't already know. So, during this COVID-19 pandemic crisis, grants have been made available by federal, state, and local government, private foundations, and nonprofit organizations to the public at large. In other words, this is public assistance that's been awarded. Much attention has been given to first responders. And we do understand they have financial challenges The U.S. House and the Senate are scheduled to resume debate the bill for assisting unemployed and displaced workers, which again is essentially public assistance. Meanwhile, we, the essential workers, and I think equivalent to first responders, we are being denied compensation, not public assistance, compensation. And compensation is monies earned from work performed. So the work had been performed. So in other words, this is almost like taxation without representation. Our funds have been frozen. So I make a request that you reconsider on freeze our funds. Thank you.
Thank you all very much. We'll now move on to other matters.
We have a number of items under other matters this evening. The first is the infectious disease preparedness and response plan that Greensville County was required to prepare the direction of the state. Staff is going to request approval of the plan that Ms. Slade is getting ready to present to you.
You're ready to sit down. I thought you were going to do it. The infectious disease prepared and response plan before you tonight is required by the Code of Virginia. The plan establishes policies to keep Greensville County and Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority in compliance with the Virginia Department of Labor and Industry standards related to COVID-19. The plan addresses, and you should have a copy of it in your Friday memo with a couple of revisions from the original agenda. The plan addresses job risks and exposure classification as determined by job duties, basic infection disease prevention and control measures for our employees, identification and isolation procedure for sick and or exposed employees, and this also includes your return to work requirements before that employee can come back, and procedures for minimizing exposure from outside the workplace, including screening of all visitors and contractors or subcontractors that come within our facilities. The plan also addresses training on the hazards and characteristics of COVID-19 and the procedures to minimize the spread. This training is a requirement for all staff. The board is welcome to take part in the training as well. They will happen twice over the next week. And if you are interested in participating, please let Gary know and he'll let you know the times and dates and work out the best time for you. Staff asks for your approval of the plan to take effect September 25th, 2020, as required by the Code of Virginia. I'll be glad to address any questions you have. Staff would ask for approval.
I move we approve the infectious disease preparedness and response plan as presented. Second.
And so move the second that we approve the infectious disease preparedness and response plan as presented. All those in favor with the roll call vote.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. A. Mr. Kane?
Ms. Slade, the next item is also one under Ms. Slade's purview, the breathing and performance agreement that she will present to you now, something that you've heard about before.
Economic Development staff has been working with a new client that intends to invest and create jobs in Greensville County. To assist in their efforts, staff has negotiated a performance agreement that sets out the company's commitments as well as the Greensville County's incentives for that client. The agreement states that the new client will invest $7 million in a new facility, and it is anticipated that they will create the equivalent of 25 full-time jobs. The agreement states the county's incentives, and that includes the permanent fee waivers and real estate tax grants. The client has accepted the agreement. Staff asks for the approval of the performance agreement in your agenda.
I move we approve the performance agreement as submitted.
Second. It's been moved and second that we approve the performance agreement for Greensville. All those in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. A. Mr. Kane?
And thank you. I would like to note, just for the record also, that no money will leave the county prior to the investment made by the client.
Thank you.
Next item is resolution 21-37, abandonment of State Route 661. Mr.
Good evening. Back on April 27th, 2020, the county received a request from CIMC to abandon Route 661, which is Three Creek Drive. So begins at 301 and ends at a cul-de-sac, approximately 1,200 feet. The county board of supervisors at their meeting on July 6th authorized the staff to proceed with the abandonment process. Staff published the notice of intent to hold a public hearing in the local newspaper as required by VDOT. During the 30-day comment period, staff was not contacted by anyone requesting a public hearing. Once the public comment period was ended, I sent VDOT a copy of the ad that was placed in the paper. In return, they sent us the attached resolution in Form AM 4.3. So staff is requesting that you approve the resolution before you tonight to abandon State Route 661 and authorize myself to sign Form 4.3 that is attached to the resolution.
Question, it's a very short street, but you never, what part of you live okay? The street probably done right outside this building, right there from my house. I said, when we look at it, it's right there from where I live at, and what you said abandoned, there's so many, I guess they make trails in place up there.
Yes.
Are we keeping up on being able to get the 18 bullets in and out?
No, they will be able to, they have bought all the surrounding land. We're taking it out of the state system. They will still use it. It'll be their road that they own and they maintain. And then this way they'll be able to gate it off because they won't put a gate up, and with the public road, they can't gate it. So as I stated, staff's recommending approval of the attached resolution and also authorizing staff to sign Form 4.
I move to approve resolution 21-37 and authorization.
Has been moved and seconded, we approve resolution 21-37, all those in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. A. Strong? Mr. Kane?
Thank you.
The next item on the agenda is item E, the agreement with Benchmark Community Bank is attached on M's in your agenda packet. The purpose of the form provided by Benchmark Community Bank is to update the current credit card account held by the county so that the limit can be temporarily increased to accommodate the purchases being made by the county staff with the CARES funding. This credit limit will be reduced again at the end of our CARES funding cycle. Staff is requesting your approval of this increase.
What is it right now? What is the limit we have? What is the maximum we have?
The limit that we have right now is 25,000.
Okay. And what are we trying to take it to?
We are increasing it to 50,000.
Period of time, we're talking.
Our CARES funding expires on December 31st of this year. If we do not spend our funding by that point, we will have to reimburse the remaining funds.
So where is it going to be first?
Well, the bills will come in after that, but that is when we will be paying the bills after the December 31st deadline, but the credit limit is being extended until we ask them to reduce it again. We want to be sure that all the bills that come in for the items that we're purchasing with CARES fund before we do increase the limit. At this point, with the shortage of a lot of the items that we're trying to get in hand, including PPE and such, computers, the MiFis, things of that nature, we are touching our limit on the credit card, and it is causing us to back order a lot of the items. We do not know if they will be coming in time, if we cannot order them on time.
I move we approve the agreement to increase the credit limit.
I second.
It's been moved and seconded that we increase the credit card limit, all those in favor, roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Strong? Mr. Kane?
We have a couple of appointments that need to be handled this evening. Under boards and commissions, the planning commission for election district 4, Ms. Kim Wally has agreed to serve another term. The term did expire back in April, but that was during the meeting time where we were handling business which was pertinent to the continuity of operations.
We reappoint Ms. Kim Wiley. I second.
It's been moved and second that we reappoint Ms. Kim Wiley. All those in favor of the roll call vote?
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Strong? Mr. Kane?
The second appointment is to the Industrial Development Authority. It's an at-large appointment for a term of 4 years. Ms. Robin Whitman is the current appointee and has agreed to serve another term.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Dr. Gillis position.
I second.
I'd also like to make a motion that we reappoint Ms. Whitman.
Okay, so we have 2 names before us.
Call the name, call the roll.
Just trying to be sure. Right there. All right, we have 2 names before us, Ms. Robin Whitman, the other one is Mr. Theophilus Gillen. All those in favor for Ms. Whitman? Serve another term with a roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
No.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. A. Strong?
Abstain.
Mr. Kane?
No. All right, the next name before us is Mr. Theophilus Gillen. Roll call vote.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
No.
Mrs. A. Strong?
Abstain.
Mr. Kane?
Aye.
The next item on tonight's agenda is a COVID-19 update from Mr. Ray Evans.
Good evening, Madam Chairman and board members. COVID-19 briefing according to the statistics provided by the Creative Health District as of September the 4th, which was last Friday. And keep in mind, yesterday was a holiday, so they didn't provide stats until late this afternoon. Based on last Friday's numbers, the county had 711 confirmed cases with 13 deaths reported. The city's total was 239 with 19 deaths reported. Staff reminds everyone that these numbers are positive cases that have occurred or present in the community today, but not necessarily we have that many active cases today. This is from the perception of us keeping those records. All right. Our numbers are also include the Department of Correction numbers and also the long-term care facilities located in the city of Emporia, which escalate that. But even when we subtract those numbers from the total number of cases, we're still in the high per capita for this part of the state. Right? And staff conducted another PPE giveaway on Thursday, August 27th from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And over 300 PPE kits were given to residents as they came through the drive-through PPE giveaway site right behind us here at Golden Leaf Commons. PPE provided at these sites was funded as part of the governor's health equity task force, and also funded through CARES funding. So we use funding from two different sources. And since we started the PPE giveaways, over 1,500 kits, including masks, hand sanitizer, and educational material, have been distributed to the citizens of Greenville County. to help protect them from spreading the COVID. Staff has additional plans for additional giveaway events, and residents should check our webpage often and look for updates on dates, locations, time, and events. We have some special programs that we're working on now to distribute this PPE to other people in need, right? The next scheduled COVID-19 testing will be this Thursday, September the 10th, from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. It will be located in the city of Emporia at BPI Extension Hall. People will actually come in off of School Street and they'll go through the site and they'll exit on Oak Street. So we have 60 tests that we can give, and first come, first serve. The registration information is on our webpage. I also sent the information to the sheriff's office. I sent it to, Mike Ray is putting it on the city's Facebook page, different avenues. So we encourage people, if you're symptomatic, call that number, pre-register, and then come through and get your test, okay? Those tests are free of charge. And in closing, staff reminds the public to always do your part. Stay at home as much as possible. Don't go out if you don't have to. Stay home when you feel sick or have any other COVID-19 symptoms. If you have COVID-19 symptoms, contact your physician's office and discuss it with them. Always wash your hands with warm soapy water for 20 seconds or more. Use hand sanitizer when not available. Avoid touching your eyes and face. Clean and disinfect common surfaces frequently. Practice social distance, being 6 feet apart at home. Wear a mask when you can. Wear a mask in public and when social distancing is not practical. Right? If you have, call your supervisor at work, or whatever the policy is for the residents. You know, if you have any symptoms of COVID-19, because you don't want to take this back into the workplace and continue to spread COVID-19. Are there any questions? Thank you for your time.
The last item on tonight's agenda, miscellaneous matters, you have the staff work programs and staff meeting minutes which were distributed through Friday night. If there are any questions, staff can file them. If not, request a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second that we now adjourn. All those in favor, the roll call. Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
I'd like to make a motion, one is to go to regular session, roll call.
Mr. Brown?
I move we go into back into regular session.
Roll call.
Wait, just second.
Roll call. Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
Aye. Certification of closed meeting, resolution WS 20-57, like I have a motion.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell?
Aye.
Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
Aye. Approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
Aye. Approval of consent agenda, need a motion.
So moved. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
Aye. We have no, public hearings, items of appointment, no old business, none new business. Reason.
I believe your first item is the performance agreement that I presented in the county open session as well. The economic development staff has been working with the client. The agreement states that the client will, just to reiterate, invest $7 million in the new facility, and it's anticipated they'll create the equivalent of 24 full-time jobs. The agreement states the authority's incentives to include permanent fee waivers and a deeded gift of a small portion of land adjacent to the site. The client has accepted this agreement and staff asks for approval of the performance agreement by the authority.
So moved.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
The next item on your agenda is the infectious disease prepared and response plan. This plan is identical to the county's. It's actually one plan that addresses both the county and the authority employees.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
Thank you.
Attachment L in your agenda packet is a request for a water and sewer bill adjustment. It's from the Community Coalition of Sussex County. Whereas the Community Coalition of Sussex, Virginia is a nonprofit organization that provides support, education, and training programs to promote self-sufficiency among members of the community. The coalition had a valve malfunction at their Jarrett facility. The malfunction resulted in 475,100 gallons of water usage during the month of August. The August water charges totaled $3,382.71, and the sewer charges totaled $4,246.85. The combined total bill is $7,629.56. The coalition is requesting a waiver of their sewer charges so that they be reduced to the normal minimum usage that's historically what they've been using, which would be $44.64. And they also request that the authority grant them a 25% reduction in the water charges for the month of August. The adjusted water charges would be $2,537.03. The adjusted combined August water charges and sewer charges would be $2,581.67. The coalition is also requesting that they be allowed a 12-month payment plan to minimize the effect of this unexpected charge on their operations. Staff met with the coalition, and we are recommending that you approve or that you consider approving this request.
I have a motion to approve W-20-2.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. Kane?
W-20-15, 59.
Good evening, members of the board. The resolution WS 20-59 is for the extension of the suspension of penalties, fees, and service disconnections through September the 16th, which follows the guideline of the SCC. They do expect it to end September the 16th. And what we'll do is anyone that is already set up with a payment plan would not, of course, be turned off after that. We are diligently working on the COVID funds for the customers that would qualify for those as well. So we do ask for you to approve resolution WS 20-59 to extend the extension of the suspension of penalties, fees, and service disconnections through September 16th.
I have any idea of people have been talking about, will they be in a position that they can't pay, so we just gonna cut the water?
I can't hear you, I'm sorry.
I said, the people that we have, that's gonna be, they can't pay, so we're saying on the 16th, we just gonna cut the water off?
No, sir. We would not turn their water off. If they have already worked into a payment plan with us.
Okay. My question is, they haven't done anything in that direction, but maybe they haven't paid in the last 4 or 5 months, and when the 16th comes, I wanna make sure I'm clear as what we're doing with the customer on the 16th.
So no, sir, that would not be it either. What we would do is on the 22nd of September, that's when the penalties would be applied, because we've not applied any penalties since February. So on September the 22nd, the 10% penalty for the outstanding current month's balance would be applied. Then they would have until October the 7th
to pay their bill in full or make arrangements with us for a payment plan. Or they could apply for the COVID funds if they are eligible. If those that have not made any of those arrangements, they would be disconnected on the 8th.
Are we making any arrangements to contact them folks that they got economic?
Yes, sir. Actually, my office is very actively, diligently working. I've created 2 lists for my employees, 60 days past due and 90 days past due. They are working on calling those customers, explaining what the COVID relief funds are. And for those that are eligible, they're turning in the documents. And for those that are not, we are also letting them know about the 12-month payment plan that they would need to get into. So we are actively working with our customers. One thing additionally that I would like to do before this cutoff or the penalty is we would like to do a code red call. We are, so that we can let our customers know what's coming, because we have some that have not paid since February.
How do you know the code red? Because, I've been working with Reggie on this, because I know a lot of folks don't have code red. They don't get anything, they'll call me and say, I know this is going on. So I've been doing everything I can to get Reggie every phone number I can.
Yes, sir, and we have, placed it on our, website. We've also, as people call in to us, we are telling them about the COVID funds, we're telling them about the payment plans. And we are hoping that maybe, we're working with the independent messenger to maybe do something as just a little public announcement about, the ending of the moratorium on the fees and the disconnections.
I would make a suggestion, if you have these people's phone number, I would almost recommend you give it to Reggie, that'd be out that way. Most people don't read the newspaper, even check it out. So.
Well, and that's why we are actively calling these customers, Mr. Kane. Like I said, we have, there's 105 customers that are over 90 days past due, and there are 182 that are over 60 days past due. And my staff and I are actively calling those customers to make them aware of the deadline and also of the funds that are available for COVID if they are eligible. And then we're also letting them know about the payment plans.
I guess what I was saying, this is, like I give members of Reggie, I know they get in contact, so I'm asking you, have you checked with Reggie to make sure he has those phones that we will know they're going to Reggie?
Well, technically, he can't do that without their permission. They have to give them permission to sign themselves up for code red. But you all have also included this statement in the bills as well.
Yes, and thank you. Yes, we have. We've also included this information on the billing statement for the last, I want to say, I know 3 months. It's been several months that we've included it in there.
I think you all have gone follow what you need to do to make sure that people are notified.
We are. Thank you, because, we want to work with our customers. The last thing that we want to do is turn anybody off, especially in this pandemic, because water is an essential item needed.
And if I can add something too as well, I'm working with Ms. Powell and Mr. Gibson. We sent out the applications for the COVID relief in the previous water bill. We're already also getting ready to do a separate mailing that outlines the COVID relief as well as the payment options as well. Now we're doing a separate mailing to all folks who are receiving water and sewer services.
Yes, sir, we're saying that. Thank you, Mr. Cyrus. We are doing that. We've purchased some bright colored paper that will catch the attention of the customers, and it will not be included in their current water bill because they could just toss it away. So this will be a special billing, a special mailing that will be paid by the COVID funds for us to be able to send out to our customers.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Ashton? Mr. Kane?
Thank you very much.
WS 20.
Attachment N in your agenda packet is the memorandum of understanding for emergency water supply. The Virginia Department of Health has requested that Greensville County Water and Sewer Authority and the City of Emporia enter into an agreement to supply water to each other in the event of an emergency condition that makes one of the localities unable to fulfill the water demands of its customers. The arrangement between the parties will address emergency circumstances only. The first priority of the party supplying the water will be supplying the water to its own customers, and therefore supplying party provide water to the other party only that such volumes are available. The party supplying the water will do so for a maximum of 30 consecutive days, and that the 30 consecutive day period is subject to the aforementioned conditions, meaning the water has to be available for the locality to supply. Staff recommends that you adopt this resolution, authorizing the director of the Water and Sewer Authority to execute this memorandum of understanding. If there are no questions.
I have a motion to WS 20-60.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. King?
Yes, sir. The next item in your agenda is attachment O. It's regarding a change order for the Skipper's wastewater treatment plant. It's change order number 4. Staff received the attached change order request for the Skipper's wastewater treatment plant project. The change order is requesting additional funds for the installation of the following. The first item is $2,000 for the addition of a 12-foot gate near the discharge at Fountain Creek. This gate is needed to allow for a tractor to get outside the fence for grass cutting so that we can maintain the facilities around our discharge. And the second item is for $2,500 for some additional wiring modifications for the post-aeration blower control panel. The engineer recommends both items as required for the efficient operation and maintenance of the new facility. The 3 previous change orders have reduced the original contract price by $7,637. With this change order, the contract price will increase $4,500, but it will still be $3,137 less than the original contracted amount. The staff concurs with the engineer's recommendation and requests you authorize the authority's director to execute the change order. If there are no questions.
Move with the present change order. Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. King?
Mr. Lane,
So,
Mr. Lane,
yes, so you have the staff report on the minutes or distributed and body minutes. If you have questions, have any items for the water and sewer work list, staff would be glad to try to answer them.
I move with adjourn. Second.
roll call.
Mr. Brown? Mr. Conwell? Mrs. Astrop? Mr. King?